What's up, everybody? It's Brandon. I'm back with another Top 5 Thursday. And this one is going to be for Blake Clark, and it's going to be on Top 5 Road Trip Movies. Now, this is another one of those ones where I feel like I'm cheating a little bit because I say it's my top 5. But there was so many different genres and subgenres mixed in with this. I tried to even them out a little bit, even if maybe 5 comedies were my favorite, or who the hell knows? Maybe fucking they were all thrillers, or maybe they were all horror movies. I tried to at least parse them out just a little bit. So Blake, you got another top 5, man, and it's coming at you. Didn't have that many suggestions this week, guys. Come on, we need you to step it up. God, I'm not really that mad, but seriously, get in there, man. And the more you're active in the group, well, we do a lot of giveaways, so be on the lookout for that. When we hit 2K members, you might be the winner. You might be. All right. Coming in at number 5, I'm going to do some Little Miss Sunshine. Little Miss Sunshine is a movie that I passed on earlier on because there was a time where I was like this weird stuck-up guy that I didn't like dramedies. I didn't even really like dramas. I was just like, yeah, I mean, maybe there's a few, Green Mile, Shawshank Redemption. It had to be the heaviest of hitters for me to get into it. I was just stuck up. I was weird. I needed the action. I needed the bloodshed. Now my taste has changed significantly. Now I still love all that other stuff, but I can also get down with, I don't know, actual great movies. And this is an actual great movie. Sure, it's not a flat-out comedy, but there are some great darker comedy elements in this movie. And there's a great blend and mix of families. And families aren't perfect. And everybody's got their own unique thing, and we all need to care about each other. And the score for this movie, the musical cue that comes on, is so fucking captivating. It's so amazing. You got a great cast here with Greg Kinnear. You got, what the hell's Grandpa's name? No, any other time. Paul Dano, a guy that definitely should be in way more movies, but of course, you know him from Prisoners and There Will Be Blood, and most recently, The Batman. He's great in this movie. He's kind of like the emo teen. Steve Carell, this is the first time I really saw from him that I'm like, this guy isn't just, some Brick Tamlin one-off, loud noises, just joking around, dude. Or the guy you saw in Bruce Almighty at the time, thinking about his earlier works, where you're just this dude's just a goofy riot. But could he actually carry a role in a more serious, nature? He might be the least funny of them all, because the whole movie he's suicidal, and you feel for him. And yeah, I mean, my God, the movie in general, I'm forgetting actors and actresses' names on the spot like I normally do, so I'm not even going to try, but the cast. The cast is phenomenal. The comedy hits when it's there. The drama hits when it's there, and it's a hell of a road trip flick where these, family members are forced to bond. Little Miss Sunshine is coming at number 4. Now, this one isn't a flat-out road trip movie, but I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to give this movie some love because I just rewatched it again, finally, and that's Duel by Steven Spielberg. There's another movie I thought about putting on this list that's really similar, Joyride. This is the original Joyride, and dare I say better? I don't know. I think it is objectively a better movie, but Joyride is such a special place in my heart. But at the end of the day, I was like, since it's so close, I'm pretty sure I put Joyride on another list. Let me shine some light on Duel, because a lot of people don't know about Duel. This was before Jaws. Steven Spielberg, I believe, even credits, this movie into helping him make Jaws. Because Duel, if I haven't given it away yet, or if you don't know about it, is about a semi-truck driver. It's just the most simple premise in the world, but because you got Steven Spielberg behind the camera, he milks it for all it's worth and builds that tension and ratchets it up and makes you really involved in the story. It came out way back, I think, in 1971. It's just a guy on a road trip, for business, and he's everybody's, come on, now big truck, I gotta get around, and then he goes to get around, and he passes him, and he's like, okay, everything's fine, got that truck out of the way, and then out of nowhere, the truck comes storming past and gets in front of him, and he's like, what the hell, and then he's like, no, fuck that, you know how we are, we're like, I'm not gonna be beat. He fucking storms around the truck again. He might have even flicked him off. I don't remember exactly, but he speeds away. And he thinks it's good. He goes to a diner. The truck shows up. And then he starts tripping a little bit or not. I don't think this is the diner scene yet. I think he goes to get gas, and the truck pulls up next to him. He's breathing into his glasses, cleaning them off, kind of gauging the situation. It doesn't show the truck driver. You just see the feet hit down on the other side of the truck, and he's just staring out, looking at the feet as they walk by in these boots. And, he's like, maybe coincidence, it's gas. We all got to get gas, right? But he's keeping an eye out like, okay, I just had beef with this dude, and we just pulled up at the same spot. Well, that does not end there. More crazy shit ensues. I don't want to give too much of it away because I think not enough people have seen Duel, but it is a legitimate duel on the road where this truck driver is doing just everything in his power to ruin this guy's day. Or maybe life. He might even be taking it to measures that are just like, are you kidding me? Are you trying to kill me over this right now? I don't want to give away too much, but it gets pretty fucking crazy. Duel is going to make my list. And then at number 3, I'm going to do Jeepers Creepers. Yes, Jeepers fucking Creepers. Let's do it. Why not? We've talked about this movie on the podcast. I don't need to run it into the ground, but it is legitimately one of my favorite road trip movies. It's got all the aspects of a good road trip. With the brother and sister arguing, play fighting, the believability of them being brother and sister, Trish and Derry. And then also just little games they're playing, like I Spy with my little eye, pointing out shit, and like, oh, it's the road. Like, you feel so, like, it feels so authentic, and you're so ingratiated in the world immediately because it doesn't feel forced. It just feels like a natural relationship between siblings, and you've been there before on road trips where one moment you're laughing, having fun, the next moment you're at each other's throats like, Mom! I say, no, of course there's no parents in this situation, but it's similar from the aspect of like, like they would have been doing that too when they were younger. Like, you get the vibe that this is such a close brother and sister, or just siblings in general. And there's also those moments where even though they'll fight, that they'll go to bat for each other. So that alone makes for a great road trip movie if something's going to get serious. And if you haven't seen Jeepers Creepers, shit got serious, really serious, as it turns into a movie where you're like, who's this killer? And that kind of evolves into, who's this monster? Which a lot of people have a problem with. I didn't even know this, but there's been a few people I've talked about it with over the years. We're like, oh yeah, the movie was so good, and then you find out it's a monster, and you're like, what the hell is this? What is this creepy monster? Like, I don't care. For me, that elevates the movie. It is the perfect road trip from fucking hell. Oh my God, how do we get out of this? This is scarier beyond my fucking wildest dreams horror movie. Jeepers Creepers is going to go on it. Lord have mercy. Gotta love it. And then I will save... I'm going to do this a certain way. Yes, I'm cheating again. Number 2 is actually my favorite of these two movies, but there's a reason why I'm number 1 at number 1, because it's also one of my favorite movies. But number 2 is Dumb and Dumber. Another one we've talked about on the podcast. How great are Harry and Lloyd, man? Jim Carrey, Jeff Daniels. Jeff Daniels, who wasn't even known as like a funny guy at the time. It's all fine and dandy now because it's so like ingrained in our minds how good Jeff Daniels is as Harry. But if you went back to when this movie was coming out, no one necessarily saw this type of comedic performance coming. And nobody could have expected the lightning in a bottle that these two would have chemistry-wise. I mean, I always say, like, I think Jim Carrey's the GOAT. He's my favorite, actor, funny guy, but I also think he's the GOAT. Now, a lot of times, I'm pretty good at distinguishing that. Everybody's got some degree of, bias, but I'm pretty decent. I will at least commend myself for that on separating the bias from actualities. Like, there's a lot of people that are my favorite, but I'm like, okay, but they're not really the best. I legitimately love Jim Carrey the most as a comedian in his prime, but also think he is the GOAT at comedy. He's so naturally funny. From, he's got the chops, he's got the impersonations, he's got just the physical comedy. He's got the it factor like nobody else has, I think, all around. And for Jeff Daniels to come in this movie and go toe-to-toe with him, and like I said, I even say that I might like Harry more than Lloyd in this movie. That's how close it is, and the fact that he was able to do that is so commendable, and I respect Jeff Daniels so much more for it. And their chemistry on screen is what elevated this movie to levels that I can't comprehend as a comedy. Like, it's, flat out slapstick funny, and it's got the stupidity running rampant, but because the movie is Dumb and Dumber, and the people you have behind the camera and on the camera, it just works. It does. There's no other way to describe it. And you were just fully in the world that is Harry and Lloyd as you're just rooting on these lovable losers on this road trip to find peace and happiness. And by the end of it, everybody's seen Dumb and Dumber. they really, don't get it. Like, things work out, but at the end of the day, they're walking down the road. They're fucking doing the one scene where it's just like, hey, we need to, like, oil boys, like, grease us up before shows. And then Harry's like, yeah, I think we saw some guys back that way. And fucking Lloyd's like, Harry, do you realize what you've done? And you're like, oh, they finally got it. And then Lloyd runs back. He's like, sorry, friend Harry here is a bit of a buffoon. I don't remember exactly what he said. He's like, the town's back that way. Oh, like, it's the perfect ending for this movie. They might not have pulled through, but the lovable losers live on, and they're stuck in, at the end of the day, their stupidity. And it's a great road trip movie. Come on, Dumb and Dumber. And then at number 1, I could spit across this gap. Better make it 60. What is it? Road Trip. The movie Road Trip for number 1 on Road Trip. Yes, I gotta relegate this to number 1 because it is one of my favorite comedies of all time. Even though I like Dumb and Dumber a little bit better, if you knew where this was on my list, you would be, okay, it's understanding. And as a road trip movie, it's just the jam. I remember being a kid watching this movie, and I was ready to grow up and, like, be like these guys. As fucked up and ridiculous as they are, I was like, I need to go to college. Fun fact, never did. But I was like, damn, this looks like a fucking blast. Even when things go wrong, like Breckin Meyer's character will, like, send in the tape of having sex with Amy Smart. Hallelujah. But he sends it to his girlfriend. His girlfriend that he has a long-distance relationship with, Tiffany, who he just loves tremendously. But he's got E.L., played by Sean William Scott, and all these people in his ear, like, you need to get laid. He even leans down to his dick. He's like, it's not easy being Josh's penis. All that good shit. And he's like, what, she still hasn't called you, man? She probably moved on. And he's like, you know what, it has been a week. He has Amy Smart coming on strong. She goes to sleep with him, and he gives in. He's like, you know what, I am doing this. But then, as he realizes, what's really going on, because she calls in the middle of them watching the filming of it, and she's like, I'm sorry, like, I think it's like my dad or something passed away. I'm sorry I haven't had a chance to call. I just haven't been able to get my thoughts together. And he's just like, oh no, because he told his buddy, I'm blanking on the spot, to mail in the tape, his like lame little tape of him playing guitar. That's Tiffany. That's you. But he actually sent the sex tape out to her, so that ensues one of the greatest road trips ever. I mean, this has got the cast, dude. You also got fucking Tom Green, who stays back as Barry, basically being the voiceover, telling the story. All the shit when it flashes back to him with Mitch the snake. He's like, you gonna eat him? Come on, Mitch, you gonna fucking eat him? All that good shit. Like, are you here for the feeding? She's like, the what? Amy Smart, as I said, great in her prime. And who can forget about DJ Qualls, dude, from The New Guy, this, and, so many other fucking, like, random off-rolls. DJ Qualls was my dude back in the day. All these guys were my dude back in the day. And it's so fun to watch them pick on DJ Qualls, but also watch them, like, him actually get accepted into this friendship circle, and you can tell they are all friends for fucking life, especially after this journey that started out so fucked up. Did you kill a cheetah? I boinked her. Yeah, all that good shit. And then where did they end up, though? With a blast of a time, and everything worked out. I don't like my little hokey endings where everything wraps up with a bow on top, but it's fine every once in a while, and it works here. That has been Top 5 Road Trip Movies. Let me know what you thought. And comment, man. Give me some more Top 5 Thursday suggestions. Love y'all. Peace.